Hey guys, Darth Deuces here, back with another video, and today doing something pretty special. We are taking a look at the McFarlane Toys Kickstarter Medieval Spawn figure set. So McFarlane finally did his second Kickstarter. If you're not familiar, I think way back in like 2020, which is crazy, is that long ago now. McFarlane did his first Kickstarter for a remastering of the original classic Spawn figure, which I did back that figure back then and do have a video on my channel somewheres, which was pretty cool. It wasn't like perfect or anything like that, but it's still one of my favorite McFarlane Toys Spawn figures that I own. And he had been talking for a while. I remember over the years, talking for a while. The next one was going to be Medieval Spawn, and then I think the Kickstarter opened up for backing of September of last year for a month. And one thing I will say is I'm very much happy with the improved turnaround time on this one. With the first Kickstarter, it took like over a year to get the figure after backing it. This was only like 6 months from backing, and that is because he had started production on this figure before the Kickstarter even started. Because I'm sure he knew it was already going to be a success. Let's be honest, McFarlane Toys, they don't need to do Kickstarters. They can afford to do this. He even talked about already putting up the money. And I know it's a kind of a pain point for some people, like, why is this a Kickstarter? Basically, it's a set to order. They make enough figures for the people who order them, and that's it. It's not a mass retail thing. But yeah, that does mean you cannot get this anymore from McFarlane Toys themselves. You will have to go on the secondary market for this. There was a bunch of different configurations that you could do. There's 3 versions of the figure. This is the classic blue version. There's a black version, and then there is a silver painted one with black wash, artist proof version. You could get any combination of those. You could get the standard 3-pack, which is what I got, which gives you the 3 figures and 1 autograph and then 1 exclusive accessory. And then you could also do the premium 3-pack, which was the only difference was you had 3 signatures. The premium 3-pack, the standard 3-pack is already pretty expensive, and the premium 3-pack was really expensive, and I didn't see a point having his signature 3 times. But I don't have Todd's autograph, and I wanted it, so I did go with the 3-pack. Anyways, I'm rambling a lot. This is going to be a long video. I'm just gonna straight up say that. We'll go through each 3 figures. They came in one huge box, and then we're all in their separate cardboard boxes. What you see here is the box that each one comes in, except for the just different colors. So the foiling on the classic one is red, the black one is green, and the silver one is, well, it's silver. But the box is very collectible looking, looks very cool. On the side, you've got Medieval Spawn, nothing really on the back. Little emblem on the side. This is a slip cover, so that just slips off. And you've got this black glossy image of the sword and his logo there. Again, there's not really much else. You have the same logo on the back. Little ribbon here to open it. You can already see some stuff's popping out. So let me flip it around on the back. I don't have the best tripod for this, so I'm just gonna do my best. But you open it up. I'm gonna put this back on here. I'll pick up my camera, and then this is what you'll see. Each figure actually does come with a certificate of authenticity, which is really nice to have, you know, for something that's exclusive like this. And this is what you'll see if you got the classic with the autograph. You have the autograph up there, which he personally signed all of them. And you've got all of the weapon and accessories. I'm not gonna videotape taking out all the accessories out. We'll go through all of them here in a bit. I am going to, though, just show you what it looks like in the clamshell packaging. How do I want to do this? If I pull the foam out, let's put this off to the side. And I'm going to move the box actually off to the side as well, just to give me some extra room here, because I don't have time to work with. So here you have the figure in the clamshell, kind of styled to how the original toy was packaged. Looks really nice. You've got that special edition comic book, Medieval Spawn, posable action figure. Mighty Shield and Evil Slaying Sword. Here's a couple of the accessories, the comic back there, which isn't actually a comic. We'll take a look in a second. But it looks really nice. The figure looks really good in there. And what's really cool is this is really easily sealable. The figure isn't tied down at all. The only thing that's tied down is that you have to, when you pull this bit out here, the sides are taped, and that's literally it. So it's really easy to repackage this, which I absolutely love. That's super cool. So say I maybe want to put one in the package after messing around with it or displaying it out of the package for a bit. I can put it back in the package and display it in the package. It's easy to repackage it for if you want to sell it or if you wanted to, you know, just store it. So that's really cool. Sorry, I'll bend down the camera here. That just slips right off. And there's just a couple of the accessories in here. Like I said, we will cover the accessories more thoroughly in a bit. But yeah, the figure just, you know, comes right out. It's just sitting in there with a bit of plastic around it. Then the figure comes out, and we will take a closer look. But I want to. Oh, that's interesting. Huh? I don't think that's supposed to be separated. That is not great. I might have to reglue that. That's a bit unfortunate. Anyways, but that's the figure kind of unboxed. So I'm gonna get things squared away and then we'll take a closer look. All right, now we're back with the figure itself, and I will be bringing the other two over here in a bit. But this is a really, really cool figure. Is it perfect? No, and I wasn't expecting it to be. There are some pain points and some things that maybe could have been a bit better or done a bit differently. But it's an absolutely incredible looking figure. I would say it's easily one of the best looking posable figures I own that's not like Hot Toys or something. Definitely looks very premium, that's for sure. And to a certain extent feels premium as well. Before getting into the figure itself, you do get a comic with each one, which is a recreating, or actually I don't even know if this is recreating original art or not. I can't remember. But you do have the comic in this little protective board here. And each figure comes with one. The classic has red foiling. The black figure has green foiling and a bit of a different backdrop inked on, which is cool. And then you also have the artist proof, which is black and white with silver foiling. So these are pretty cool. However, like I said, they aren't true comic books. If I take one out and then just open it, you get like the original appearance, I believe, of the medieval Spawn. But then it's just artwork, cover art, and that sort of thing. A lot of cover art and stuff going on. Not an actual story or anything to read. You get the image of the figure and a rundown of the accessories it comes with, what they're trying to accomplish. You can see the original toy and then the new figure. And then some shots of, there's the mainline medieval Spawn. Some more shots of the actual figure. Here's some drawings of what they were going through for, I think this looks like, for making the original figure. I'm not entirely sure though. Anyways, there's some cool stuff in here. I think it's a cool idea, that sort of thing. I know some people were hoping it would just be a full-on comic. I kind of wish that too, but the promotional images and that sort of stuff I think is still pretty cool. So yeah, we can move on to the figure itself. This is the classic blue. Let me get the other two figures actually. Okay, I've got the other two figures here, and each figure at its base is exactly the same, just painted differently. The classic has the blue chainmail, the black has the black chainmail, and then the silver artist proof is all silver with a black wash. I know some people weren't a big fan of them painting the artist proof figure. Originally, this figure is just going to be cast in gray plastic, a true artist proof, and that's it. That's what they did with the original Kickstarter. And that was something that was actually keeping me on the fence with the 3-pack, because I don't really like artist proof figures. I don't paint them. I don't really care for the novelty that much. But when they changed it to painting it silver with a black wash, I think it looks super sick. It makes it look like a silver metal statue or something. And that kind of was a big seller for me on getting the 3-pack. And you can, if you want to paint it, you still can, you know. It's not like you can't still paint it. But it is unfortunate for, I guess, people who did want just that straight up gray. But I'm guessing that's the major minority of people who were backing this, if I'm being honest. But we will go through each of them. I will remove these two for the time being and go through the first one because they all have very similar detailing. But this is the classic blue, how he originally kind of appeared. It looks really nice. I remember him talking about one of the goals being trying to translate one of, I think, a medieval spawn statue and make it a posable figure. And I say that Todd pretty much achieved that with this. It looks incredible. Tons of painted and sculpted detail, black washes to bring out the details. All that stuff is here, which is great. The armor on the shoulder with the gold really pops. There are some like decently sharp spikes. Nothing super pointy, but you are gonna want to be at least a little bit careful with handling this figure. But yeah, just the armor detail looks really incredible. The chainmail here looks awesome. Some softer plastic around the waist so it won't hinder articulation, but looks really good. All the straps and buckles are all painted, black washed galore. Really cool stuff. One thing that is a little weird though is on the thigh armor, on the top and the bottom, there's looks like a blue bleed on it. But from the videos I've seen of people who've already gotten this figure, every figure has this on their blue classic. So I guess it's intentional. I don't know what effect they're trying to go for here. It does look like it's just a straight up paint error, but it is intentional. The cape's really nicely sculpted. It's kind of sculpted to look like it's swaying in the wind a bit. It does have a black wash itself, this nice embroidery or whatever, sculpted onto the edges. And then the collar here looks really cool. The only thing I'll say with the cape is it is pretty solid. It has a bit of flex to it, but not a whole lot. And it does make the figure decently back heavy. So you are going to have to work with the posability a bit to get the figure, get the figure to stand, but it's not too hard to do. But overall, I mean, you can just look. Figure looks absolutely incredible. Absolutely love how this looks. The boot there looks really sweet with the spikes. Yeah, I really like how this looks a lot. I guess quickly we can then do the other two. The black one, I think, looks equally as cool. A lot of the paint detailing is just the same. It's just changing that the chainmail underneath from blue to black, but he doesn't have that weird bleed on the thigh armor, which I think looks better, to be honest. But yeah, you can get a look at the black. Looks really nice as well. Not going to go in too much detail here, or as thorough. I'll just give you a quick look. And then the silver, of course, is all silver with the black wash, which also I think looks super awesome. I'm glad they went this way with this figure personally. Just looks really nice. Only thing I'll say about the silver one is they didn't paint the plastic underneath where the joints are. So if you bend them and pose them, you will see just the standard black casting plastic, which definitely isn't great, but it's not a big deal. Still, overall, it looks really nice. In terms of articulation, you do have a dumbbell joint at the neck, which moves pretty good, although he doesn't look a whole lot down. Looks up okay, though. Quite a bit of pivot and rotation. The shoulder pads are actually on dumbbell joints, so they do have a bit of posability to be able to articulate out of the way, which is nice. And then you have the shoulders, they go out. Rotate at the bicep. You can get there's a little bit of butterfly joint movement going on, like the standard McFarlane joint that they put in there. Not a whole lot of in motion for the arms, but it is there. Double hinge at the elbow, which I think they did a pretty good job of hiding. One thing that we'll talk about now, I guess, is that some of the armor is actually magnetic because you get swappable parts. It does make posing a little annoying, so you might want to just remove those bits when you're posing, then put them back on. This joint doesn't want to move, which is a bit annoying. And it's a bit tough to get it because it's the pointy bits on the figure. That elbow joint seems to be stuck in place. I might have to heat that up later. See if the other arm will move. Ah, man, both elbow joints. Don't want to move at the upper joint. I'll have to take a look at that later. I don't want to force it right now. But there is a double hinge joint in there. This just seized at the moment. I'll probably have to heat it up or something. There's 2 torso joints. So you get a pretty good back. Pretty good crunch, honestly, compared to a lot of figures these days. It's not like crazy, but it's not bad. Especially considering all the sculpted detail that could get in the way. You can pivot the torso and you can rotate it at the 2 points. Hip joints, they kick out pretty far. And then they can split quite wide. You can rotate them only a little bit. You do have double hinges at the knees. These ones will move, which is nice. And then you have rotation at the ankle, up and down hinge. There is a bit of pivot for rocker, and you do have toe bends as well. So lots of articulation hidden pretty well in this figure, and decent range for what's going on. I mean, it's not like the craziest articulation I've ever seen on a figure ever, but definitely a lot of posability engineered into these guys. So that's really nice. I guess now we can go into accessories, in which this figure comes with a ton of stuff. I would say that might be, aside from the paint and sculpt detail, that might be the figure's strongest point, is that it just comes with an absolute ton of stuff. I'm just going to move the other versions out of the way for now. And it's worth noting that each figure comes with all of the same accessories. So you get a set of each accessories for each figure. I guess first off, like I said, if you got the standard 3-pack or the autographed blue classic, you do get Todd's autograph on this little standing plaque thing, which is very cool. I'll definitely be displaying that front and center with my McFarlane figures. Looks like I got a little smeared a little bit there. It's been unfortunate, but looks good. Happy to have this, because I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to meet him in person. Each figure comes with the same display base. It is a larger version of the standard disc McFarlane display base. You do have medieval spawn there, 2 pegs. I do wish it was kind of like the first Kickstarter, where it had like a time frame from when the first toy or the comic came out, and a bit more stylistic of a titling there, but still pretty cool. And the larger base is kind of nice. It makes it easier for posing. Then what else? I guess we can go on to maybe the interchangeable parts that you get first. You get quite a few. I guess first off, you do get the sash and scabbard sheath for the sword, one of the swords, which I did have to repair this one. It disattached here and had to glue it back on. This is cool, but it is kind of just a pain to get on the figure, because they didn't give it quite enough plastic slack to make it easily put on, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is sculpted and painted really nicely. But you gotta, I haven't even tried to put this back on the figure yet. I'm assuming I'd have to like pop the head off, probably, and maybe even pop other pieces off. I'm not really sure, but I can show it on the other figure. Here it is. Here it is on the black figure. So you can see the sash, and then it's just on the back there. As you can see, you know, it does work, it does go on there, but it is a tight fit. So they probably should have put a little more, just a little more plastic on that sash to make it a bit easier to put on and not stress maybe the plastic out so much. But it is nice to have that for a little bit of weapon storage. That's the only weapon storage on the figure, unfortunately. You also get some different armor pieces. Like I said, there are some magnetic bits. The forearms are magnetic. And the magnets are decently strong, but like I said, if you're posing it, they will kind of like dislodge. So my recommendation would be to take them off while you're posing, then put them back on. But you do get 2 additional forearm pieces, which are a bit more traditional Spawn looking gauntlets, but these look real good. I'm not sure which figure. I might put them on the blue one, I might put them on the black. I haven't decided yet. You also get an alternate clasp for the cape. The cape is fully removable, because you need to remove it to interchange the chest piece. And you do get a different clasp. This has the classic Spawn logo as opposed to the skulls. Speaking of the armor, you do get 2 additional chest pieces. You get this chest piece with a skull on the front, which looks really nice. You can see the hole there for the clasp and the cape. And then you also get this just more standard looking silver plate, which looks pretty cool as well. Nice sculpted detail. You also get a set of interchangeable hands. This one's like another grip hand with a bit of a pointing finger. And then this one's a more open dynamic hand, which is cool, but I do wish the figure came with at least a set of like fists or something. I feel like only one set of interchangeable hands is a bit light on that front. Excuse me. Then you do get a bunch of head options. So you do have the standard one that's on all the figures there. You also get this Roman style helmet. I might have to heat that up and fix the warping on this a bit. Some of the accessories have some slight warping out of the packaging. It might vary from figure to figure because mine varied between the three. But the plume is really nicely painted. You can see the green eyes there. The helmet looks super cool. This is a really cool one. I might use this helmet on my black figure. I'm not sure yet though. You get this one, which is called the Valkyrie helmet, I think, which also looks super, super good. Nicely painted and sculpted, and has a fun feature of you can actually open up the visor on a hinge, and then there's a face underneath, which looks really cool. I like that a lot. And it just clicks back into place, which is nice. Then you get two unhelmeted sculpts. You get a yelling head, which has some nice paint and is very similar to the first Kickstarter's unmasked sculpt for the classic Spawn. But that's really cool. And then you also get a neutral head sculpt where he's just not yelling. And this is super cool. I'm very curious if these can actually be put on other Spawn figures from the main line, because I wouldn't mind putting some of these unhelmeted normal hamburger heads on some of the other Spawn figures I have. I haven't tried it, but I'd like to see. Maybe you could do something there, so that's cool. Or maybe you can't. And then for the neutral head, you actually get this flexible, squishy plastic helmet. So you can actually have a removable helmet play feature kind of thing going on. And this helmet looks really nice. It reminds me the most of the first appearance look of the medieval Spawn. So that's really cool. I just put the head in the helmet there. You can't really see the eyes too well, but you can kind of, it lines up pretty good. And the head's in there. So that's nice as well. Now, I think that's it for the interchangeable stuff. Now for all the weapons, you get his basic circular shield, beautifully sculpted and painted. The shields both have straps, which I believe you can unpeg them somewheres here. The straps unpeg, I think. Yeah, they do. There's a spot where they unpeg. And there's also a magnet there, so you do have to remove the forearm gauntlet to put the shield on. But it should be pretty secure on there. So you get the standard shield. You also get this really cool metal shield. Well, not metal, it's not made of metal, but this other cool alternate shield, which has a lot more detail on it, which I like a lot. This looks super cool, really nice. Has the same system of plastic straps you can peg out, as well as the magnet. Here is the sword that's in the actual recreated packaging, which looks really nice. Love the design. The sculpt and paint looks great. A lot of the weapons actually have removable pommels on the hilt, which is very nice for getting the fit weapons in the figure's hands. You are going to be careful though. These are really small pieces, and I find some of them come out decently easy, so you're just going to be careful of that. But that looks really cool, and this is the sword that goes into the sheath there, like so. And then you can put it on his back, and it stores on his back. It works pretty well. I'll slide that out for now. That is a pretty tight fit. You might want to be a little careful of paint scrapage maybe. Then you get a bunch of other weapons. You get this mace, which looks really nice, or Morningstar. I'm not really sure what the official term is. All the weapons are painted and sculpted very, very well. Very well. You get the ball and chain. It's got a real metal chain on there, which is super cool. You get a scimitar sword. Looks really nice. All the weapons are of a decently sturdy plastic. Maybe a little bit of flex, but not too much. Definitely feel higher quality than the mainline accessories. You get a small axe. You get a massive, like, two-handed axe, battle axe, which looks really sick. And then the last accessory, I think I'm getting everything, is that if you get the standard or premium 3-pack, each figure also comes with this massive sword that I believe is supposed to be a modern recreation of the original sword accessory that came with the original medieval Spawn figure back in the 90s. But yeah, beautiful sculpting and painted detail here. Looks great. Yeah, very happy with that. Very cool. I'll definitely have at least one of the figures probably holding this sword. Maybe this guy. I haven't decided yet. but that looks awesome. Very pleased with that. Yeah, I guess one thing we can do now maybe is maybe try swapping some parts. I haven't actually tried this yet. The head pops off pretty easily. The clasp comes off decently easy. You can pop the cape off like so. And if you wanted to, you could probably, yeah, you can put the clasp back in and you could display them without the cape if you want. So that's another option, which is cool. I'm going to pop the chest off. It does just look like it goes on just with some, excuse me, just with some magnets. Let's put the armor with the skull on it there. Let's swap the clasp. But first we have to, I'm curious how difficult this is going, finicky this is going to be. Okay, that was pretty easy. I feel like I remember people complaining about this being kind of fiddly to do, but that felt really easy to do. I'll be honest. Let's put let's put this head on because I want to see what the unhelmeted sculpt looks like. Ugh. Ugh. This does not want to go on. Might be easier to take the head sculpt out of the helmet, to be honest. Oops, one of the things. I gotta do this off camera. I can't get a good enough. There we go. And we got the head on, new head on, and I already have one of the gauntlets off, so let's just swap the gauntlets. I don't know if it matters what side you put these on. I'm gonna put this one on this side though. And this one on this side. I don't know which way is correct. Oh, this way for sure. And yeah, there you go. You have the part swapped. The unhelmeted sculpt is on there. It looks pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, that's really nice. And then you put the helmet on. There's what that helmet looks like. So very, very cool. I'll keep this these armor bits on, but I'm gonna put the base head back on for now because I want to do some comparisons. The base heads, it pops on a lot easier because it's been on the ball joint for probably a while now, as opposed to not being on. But let's set the figure back up and let's do some comparisons. I guess first off, I'm not gonna do a ton of comparisons. But I guess here he is with the first Kickstarter. This is the classic Kickstarter, classic spawn from the first Kickstarter. And two really awesome figures. But I will say I definitely think McFarlane learned some lessons on the first Kickstarter, not only with getting these out to people, but just some design choices. The new figure has better articulation scheme. He didn't do weird, like semi-sculpted posing with articulation cut in like you did with the first figure. That still poses decently well, don't get me wrong. But I think the new one is definitely engineered a lot better articulation wise, a lot more accessories. Still really love the first Kickstarter. It's still one of my favorites, but you can kind of see those two. I know they're completely different designs, so it's a little tough to compare them, I suppose. Here is a main comparison. Here he is with the mainline medieval spawn from a couple years ago now, I think, and the mainline's actually decently bigger, both in bulk and in height is bigger than the new one, which is a little unfortunate. It would have been nice if the newer one was a bit more on par size-wise, but I guess in the modern comics where this design comes from, he is pretty big, so. But you can see the differences in terms of like paint detailing. This one is lacking a lot of paint. A lot of washes and that sort of thing. The accessories are cool on the main line, but are not, one, you don't get nearly as many. There's no paint on them, and they're made of this flexible plastic that warps really easily, which is a bit unfortunate. So I would say overall, the new one, the Kickstarter one, looks way better. But don't get me wrong, the main line is still a super good, or a super cool figure. It has its issues, but it's still a cool figure, and if it's the only one you get your hands on, then I would definitely recommend it. And then for fun, here he is with Todd himself. which it's actually kind of funny that on this body, Todd is looking like he's a maybe just slightly taller than Medieval Spawn, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So you could maybe make a case that the Kickstarter Medieval Spawn could have been a bit bigger. But it doesn't really bother me that much. But yeah, that I think is pretty much it. I've gone over everything. I mean, this is already a long ass video, 30 minutes. So I apologize for that. But if you watch most of this, then kudos to you. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Overall, I think this is a really cool figure. I think this was a really, successful Kickstarter. Doesn't McFarlane Toys need to be doing Kickstarters? No, they don't. But I don't know. It gives us some pretty cool premium stuff. And I can't really do a recommendation in the traditional sense because you can't get this anymore from the source. You got to go on the aftermarket. For me, do I regret buying this? No. I mean, this 3-pack was expensive, don't get me wrong, but this is super cool. I could definitely see this being on my top 10 figures of the year at the end of the year easily. Comes with a ton of accessories, beautifully sculpted and painted, good articulation. There's some things here and there that I think could have been better, but nothing major in my opinion. Whether I recommend getting it off of the aftermarket, eBay, whatever, that's going to have to be up to you. I'm going to guess these are going to be expensive for a while. They might come down eventually because I think you can find the first Kickstarter, some of them for not the most ridiculous prices ever. But for the time being, it probably won't be that easy to get. So whether that's worth the money for you to buy, I don't know. It's up to you. Because honestly, if you really did want it, you probably would have backed the Kickstarter. So I don't know. But that is pretty much it, I think. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.